there, my friends, and welcome back to the Brightworks and another match of Beyond All Reason. Today, as you've probably already noticed, I'm demoing some brand new tech. That's right, I finally figured out how to get camera controls operational. I shouldn't say I figured it out. Behereth was the one who originally wrote this script, but it means that I can do these beautiful cinematic shots sweeping across the landscape here. And I figured, why not give it a go in one of these one of these live casts. So why don't we go ahead and take a look at exactly what went down on this match on Star Watcher. Boy, I'm excited. Can you tell? Already stumbling over my words here as we get into this game right here. Spawning as our blue team leader is the Cortex Commander, a commander that goes by the name of Ritsuit, or Ritsuit. Everybody knows him, everybody loves him, and everybody should put a comment down below letting everyone know exactly what this commander's name translates to. All the way across the map on the other side of this beautiful, beautiful desert oasis over here, our red team leader going to be spawning as a Cortex Commander as well. Commander that goes by the name of MVP. MVP going to be playing here on the right-hand side. Well, it's kind of hard to say here. I guess the southern side. I guess you lose all sense of direction here. Going to be playing as the red team leader here, at least in the back line, I could certainly say, for the red team. Going to be going for some of those Cortex spots. Going to be trying to pump some of those out pretty quick. Now, one of the things is, of course, I can still go into a higher perspective here. We can check out the whole map in its totality. Star Watcher, very cool for these massive oasis pools right here. As you can see, they have these cool dueling oases that you can try and vie for control over. Of course, we also have tanks and bots. All those units can traverse through there, but it is a little bit tricky. So it makes for a weird little situation where you need to build static defense in order to lock those down. But then, of course, also keeping track of what units are and aren't crossing is another tricky situation as well. First Rascal making its way out onto the map right now. We do have a transport plane flying around in the background over there. Man, this is cool. I'm a little hesitant to use this in a cast, so we might turn it off later on into this, but I wanted to definitely showcase this because it is some really, really cool tech. I think I'll put a link down below to the Discord channel, the sub-channel, where I actually got the code for all this from. It's a little bit technical, but it is certainly very, very fun to play with, and I think as far as like choreographing cinematography goes, it's definitely super valuable. I mean, these smooth shots, they're just buttery smooth. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. Commander being transported right here for Phantom, and oh, all right, the blue team has somebody quit. Who left the game? Well, I don't know who left the game, but it looks like it's going to be who took over the extra commander. I can't tell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, we have 8 players. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Huh. We have one commander just AFK right now. Well, anyways. Match is still going on, and apparently it was a good one. This one was submitted over on the Discord channel, so I'm just assuming that it's gonna be a pretty good match. Usually only the better matches get submitted over there, so we will see. A little bit of a run by killing a couple of mexes over here. Brown Commander gonna have to rebuild some of those, but all said and done, not the end of the world. Star Watcher, a very metal-heavy map, so going to mean that we can definitely lose some metal extractors and be all right as long as we're gonna keep rebuilding them. The Hot Pink Commander in a lot of trouble over here. Uh-oh. Rascal actually triggering the flanking damage right there from the commander. That's pretty funny. Wonder if there's a way to. I don't think I can clear it while in this camera mode. All right, why don't we switch over to this? Fun to try that camera mode, and we'll do some more cinematography later on in the match, maybe once we get some epic T3 units out on the field, but I definitely am super, super excited to showcase that. I want to put together some videos, and I'm sure a lot of other people do as well, just using some of the cool tools at our disposal. Anywho, getting back into the match, shall we? The Tick Swarm now moving forward right here for Humblegar. We're going to try and do a little bit of damage over to a Tortoise on the southern side of the red team. We're directional now, so we can actually refer to north, south, east, west. Tick's actually going to run right on by. Okay, we're going for the deep intrusion. We're going to try and get into the backline here and do a bunch of damage. There was already a little bit of a excursion into the backline here. Oh, okay, looks like the blue team is whole again. Looks like it was Pasta Polo that disconnected. Might have just been a disconnect reconnect situation, not a leave situation. There we go. Tick's in the back. Oh, okay. Well, a little bit of over micro right there. Humblegar accidentally pulling the tick before the metal extractor dies. It's definitely a little bit of a bummer. Constructor and metal extractor over here also in trouble. I would like to see these sniped. There's no response back here. No response whatsoever from the pink commander or from the, well, any commander. Evangelion, the Brown Commander Tortoise. Nobody's sending units back there. They finally have blitzes headed backwards. Yeah, all right. Well, there you go. Constructor falls. Metal Extractor is still vulnerable right now. Not sure why we gave up on killing this Metal Extractor over here or this one here. We will eventually finish the job, though. There we go. Tick's running alongside these hills, trying to find an opportunity path. LLT over there blocking the way. Blocking basically the whole path, so these ticks are going to have to turn around and finally be cleaned up over here. My goodness. I know they're not the flashiest unit in the game, but oftentimes the tick will get way more value than virtually anything else. Tortoise on the front line here, trying to fight for their life. A couple of aggravators firing away. Very stock standard opening right here. We're even going for some walls. Digging our heels into the trenches and making sure that we're not giving up any more space than we need to, but the grunts jump on top of the lone aggravator available here for Tortoise, so that's going to mean another big run by that the Brown Commander is going to have to deal with. Definitely looking like the southern side is already the weak point here for the red team. I mean, to some degree that's fair enough, right? Tortoise with 7 true skill, it's not like it suffices it to say that it's fair to expect a little bit more pressure on this southern side, right? Any team worth their salt will know to pressure the weakest link and try and exploit any weakness that they can find. Hans Joachim not being as successful on this northern side, held back by mostly the Rocketeers here from Pastapolo, but now there's also a lightning turret, which is going to be quite annoying to deal with. 430 range versus the Rocketeers, 475 means essentially those Rocketeers can take down a lightning turret, but it's not going to start firing at them, which means it'll be in its little closed-up shell. And when it's like that, it's going to be really difficult to do any damage to it. They're one of the few things that have legitimate resistances in this game, is pop-up turrets when they're in their closed-up shell form. They just take flat-out less damage from basically all sources. In fact, every source, I do believe. Phantom correctly assessing that he's 2 versus 1 up here, meaning that this fight is essentially just to hold on for as long as you can until basically tech or some air support or something like that comes out to save the day. We do have the air player behind Phantom here, so maybe some shurikens. Yeah, there's no AA yet. Killer bombing runs could also sweep across this and do tons of damage, but it would definitely probably be best, it would probably be best to use those bombers aggressively, trying to take out bases and that sort of thing, rather than trying to use them for frontline cleanup. But certainly it is possible. You can imagine a bomber sweeping across a row of Rocketeers like this can do unbelievable damage, be extremely, extremely valuable. Even if it doesn't kill everything, it softens it all up quite nicely, and then a couple of grunts or aggravators and all that sort of good stuff can run on in and take control and blow it all to smithereens. There we go, some tanks taking advantage of the pond over here. Humble using the commander and some accessory pawns to clean up all the rest of this. Very nicely done. And that run by is deflected nicely. So far, I will say the walls here are doing a phenomenal job protecting these aggravators from the rocket fire. Definitely an excellent way to defend here, just positioning your aggravators in such a way that the counter aggravators can't really do anything about it. Not a bad plan. I'm losing, cries out Pastapolo. Well, I think it's true. It's definitely a tricky situation here. Heavy laser turret coming up. I don't mind the heavy laser turret in the bot versus bot matchup, but at this big of an advantage, that many Rocketeers can just step forward. I mean, we're up to, at this point, 17 Rocketeers for Hans Joachim. Should be able to, in 1 or 2 volleys, blast down that heavy laser turret. So really what we need here is some sort of unit investment. We need more and more units on the front line. Although this is a really heavy Rocketeer investment, I wouldn't mind seeing maybe a bunch of pawns. Oh, well, and speak of the devil, Demi here, like I was just saying, going for a whole bunch of pawns, and I think as soon as we pull the trigger, we have to make sure that we kill this entire army right here, otherwise this is never going to be efficient. Demi, though, held in suspense because the red army is moving around in the pond right here, and I bet we can see it with the radar. Indeed, we see all these units moving around in the radar. Seeing that on your screen definitely puts a little bit of fear in you. Makes even the strongest among us wary of leaving our lines completely exposed. Ah, we have a Tsar Rush. It slipped under my nose right here, but Reed Sweet has gone for a Tsar Rush right now. We've pumped out a Tsar on the front line. We've got the radar jammer up as well. It's actually risky because radar jammers can inadvertently cloak enemy commanders when you didn't mean to. So you have to be a little bit careful about that. There we go. This Tsar is getting extremely close. I'm not sure exactly why this Tsar needs to get so close to fire here. Is there no radar? Oh, there is no radar. That's a bit of a misplay. We have the radar vehicle here, at the very least. That's gonna start helping out. Maroon Force is moving forward. Beautiful little counterattack. Oh, this is great, actually. What a beautiful read right here by Donuts, who realized, hey, wait a second, if you've gone for a Tsar, that must mean you have, well, and you've got it on the front line this quickly, it must mean that there's a lab somewhere around here. And so, indeed, these pawns run forward, and do they spy the T2 lab? Oh, just barely they do not. Oh, if they moved just a step further north, they would have seen the T2 lab, but just barely didn't manage to see it. That is a bummer, because if that T2 lab was spotted, I have a feeling the red team would bring their full force to bear against it. Not going to be the case this time, though. Erikim, slowly but surely making progress on the southern side. Medium tanks pulled to try and push back that commander, rocketeers and aggravators, all that good stuff. Similarly trying to hold the line right here. Thug switch has been made from the purple commander, trying to make sure that we have some way of shooting over these barriers and into the units that are hiding behind them. They're actually just going to D-gun down some of those walls right here. Oftentimes very annoying, but sometimes in cruel twists of fate, you can end up taking control of your enemy's walls, and then suddenly, yeah, you end up with a pretty good situation. Reed Sweep pounced upon by a whole bunch of pawns right here. You can actually technically out-micro a Tsar with a single pawn. In other words, a single pawn can kill a Tsar if you keep it running around the outside of the Tsar. However, the Tsar can just shoot itself in the feet in order to kill the pawn, so micro versus micro. There you go. Ooh, Janus missiles connecting. StarCraft Man in a lot of trouble right now. Customize. Firing away. Those missiles don't do a lot, but every time they connect, it whittles away on the armor of those brutes right here. It's exactly the engagement we're hoping for. Just dive in ever so slightly, build up the damage counters and all those enemy units, and then dip back out. Lovely, lovely stuff. Donut's in a lot of trouble. Yeah, Tsar's going to be kept well out of range of this commander, and the AoE means that even if we miss the shot, we still do a little bit of damage. You can see about 8 or so damage, 8% damage. There goes all the Rocketeers, my goodness. Love the Salamanders included here, by the way, as well for the blue commander, using them to screen out any of these lighter chaff that are going to be gumming up the gears and treads of the Tsar. Spybot here. Going in for the paralysis. Oh. Doing a little barrel roll, a little swerve and swoop maneuver. And we do manage to land the EMP. Nicely done right there. The problem is, of course, we have no follow-up. Yeah, the Salamander's heavily resistant to EMP, so they didn't even feel the effects of that. A slight twitch in their memory systems, and that was all. The Tsar are going to be knocked out for a couple of seconds, but there's just nothing we can do about it. Oh, that's so funny. Yep. What a beautiful play from the red commander, but there just wasn't a follow-through right there. That's the problem with EMP universally is, of course, if you don't have a follow-through for all those stunned units, they do just come back online eventually. The purple force is continuing to maneuver through. I wouldn't mind seeing a couple trashers thrown in at this point, since we're under the enemy air wall. Oftentimes, they could be the difference between winning and losing an air fight. Not actually how the air player is doing, but rather how the forces on the ground do. It's softening up the air walls. Something to always be considerate of. Keep your air players in mind, and they will reward you with successful bombing runs and shuriken swooping and all sorts of other stuff. This thug pull has not achieved all too much. A couple of metal extractors, some more dead units. The front lines are moving as well, and we are resurrecting, so at least it's sort of an undead army moving forward, making this very efficient. But I think eating these units up and just using them as eating them after resurrecting them would probably be best, just to get those T2 units on the field. We do have the T2 lab, forward T2 lab set up right now for the purple commander. Tsar is still being a menace. Yep, pretty great against medium tanks too, because when they ball up, you get tremendous value. Burning off the armor from all of those medium tanks. Evangelion trying to set the commander down. Oh, there we go. D-gun does connect finally, and barely. Evangelion just barely manages to, he's trying to go for the D-gun on the transport right there. Just barely manages to set down in time to D-gun down that Tsar and shut down the oppression that is the Tsar rush. Very, very nicely done, but of course, we still have to deal with this T2 lab, and we're pumping out Salamanders very cheap for the T2 era. 350 metal a pop. Very, very easy to spam out. Numbers very sturdy. comparable to a medium tank, but slightly higher health pool. Actually, I don't know if that's true. About 1,500 versus about 2,000. Yeah, it's about the same. Yeah, about 2,000 on each one of these. Shurikens jump in though, stunning a whole bunch of those brutes, locking them in place. Ooh, Hot Pink Commander goes down here as well, customizing a lot of trouble. Uh-oh. Hey, Shurikens to save the day right there. Shurikens paralyzing the Pyros and shutting them down completely. Very, very nicely done. In range of the heavy laser tower, no less. Saving Customizes life, 100% certainly. Southern side, still crumbling. And I know from the replay time, and you know from that video timer, that this match goes on a long while, but this looks like a surefire victory on the southern side. We're gonna need some sort of proper address in order to clean all this up. Do we have anything in the works right now? We have advanced solar panels galore coming up for the red player MVP. We have tons of advanced metal extractors coming up as well here. The red economy now at 51 metal per second, not bad. More than sufficient for T2 production, and even sufficient enough for some really cheap T3 production. Shurikens, things like that. Pardon me, not Shurikens, Shiva, or for instance, maybe even some Karganeth. Cataphracts work too, which apparently will be getting a turbo laser update sooner or later. I'm extremely happy about that. I think that's going to make Cataphracts much more usable. I'm very, very pleased to see those finally hit the limelight. I'm obviously a big Star Wars nerd, so seeing the battle, what are they called? The tanks for the capitalist, what are those guys called? The Trade Republic tanks. Somebody will know the exact designation, the like ATTTETE or whatever, you know, it's a bunch of T's. But anyway, somebody will know it down below in the comment section. But anyways, I'm excited to see those hit the battlefields. If you played on our live streams, you've definitely seen them before. They're really, really neat. They're a great option for a very cheap spammable unit in the T3 era, and they're very effective, but also fairly flimsy, so they're sort of a good, I think they're kind of a good counterpart to the Armada's Marauder. Not nearly as fast, but do significantly more of a diverse role. They are similar though. Yeah, if you think about it, the turbo laser cataphracts can hit air, they can hit land, they can hit sea. The Marauders are fast, but they can't hit sea, but they can hit land and they can hit air. Yeah, some interesting trade-offs there. I'm excited to see what the meta shifts to around them, if it will shift the meta. Obviously, those T3 units don't always come out to play. Like games, for instance, like this one, where already we are up to T2 by the 16-minute mark, and full-blown T2 production, mind you. T3 definitely seems like an inevitability at this point. With the red economy beginning to expand here, we do have fusion reactors coming up, or fusion reactor singular coming up right here for the red player. Going to start up one of those reactors in the backline economy center. We've got the forward production center for producing units, and we've got the backline center for economic structures. Sheldon Ball firing away here as well, whittling down a bunch of the static defense. There we go, pop-up lightning turret, catches some of them. Also exposes itself though. And boom goes the Dragon's Claw. Stalling just long enough to get another bull out of the production center here for Pasta Polo. But of course, that T2 vehicle lab's in a really exposed position here. Oh, Shuriken, all right. Shuriken in the air, paralyzing whatever of these units that they can. I think these are not the ones we want to go for, though. I really feel like those expensive T2s are the ones we really need to shut down. It's not like there's a lot we can do about it anyway, regardless of what we shut down. There we go. Finally, some hounds come over from Demi, the Lavender commander, sending commanders northward to try and help out Pastapolo here. Very, very nicely done, but anti-air trucks now hitting the front line. Shuriken, the age of the Shuriken is now over, unless you make a very large investment into them. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful connections, yeah. Flak turret shooting down those Shuriken with ease. Cleaning up the skies right there and making sure that no longer will those be able to harass down any of the units up on the northern side. More Salamander investment over here for the blue commander. I think we probably want to invest in some way to clean up a lot of this here. Do we have the... No, we don't have the experimental units or the extra units or whatever they're called enabled, which enables the Nano, which is basically a mobile construction turret. Very cool. Little fortified zone up here on this hill over here. Very, very, very nice. Setting up a little bit of a forward enemy facility. Erikim trying to hold the line. Pounder tanks, not necessarily the greatest at sniping commanders. They have very, very short sight range. Well outclassed by T3 at this point. T2, I mean, pardon me. Yeah, we're double invested into 2 different labs, and I think neither of them are going to be effective right now. Unfortunately, the economy is just too much to bear right now for the Brown Commander. It's only a matter of time before Erikim realizes that and begins to push forward. We already have the Hounds and the Sheldon moving in as well, but for the time being, it's only going to get worse. Nice Sheldon connection on some of those Resbots over there. Resbot's probably the most OP mechanic in the game. Easy to learn, difficult to master. Loads of Centurion right there. Very, very nice Spybot detonation, and the Shurikens to follow up as well. Just making sure that we're constantly keeping the big air clash right there as well. Zooming out to see the air fighter, see who was winning that fight. I think the Tan Commander took the overwhelming advantage. At the very least, shooting those Shuriken out of the sky is quite nice. It's only Rocketeers coming out of this, and even those will burn to bits here behind the Fiends as well. Now we're in a tricky situation. Nice self-D on that Fiend right there. Leave behind no wreckage. Do a little bit of extra damage. Very nice. Southern side. Imminent destruction. Northern side. Similarly imminent destruction. We've got ourselves a situation here that I like to call the yin-yang, where both sides are effectively gearing up for a swap here, where the red team is going to win this northern side, and then the blue team is going to win this southern side. And it's a great race to see who can sweep out the legs from the other one quicker. Always tricky, because of course you can invest more troops up to the northern side, to the side that's falling, but then that pulls away from your front lines, and if your front lines can't hold, then you collapse even quicker on that side as well. So that's what creates this weird dynamic, where suddenly you find yourself not really able to pull yourself away from the front line to save yourself from being stabbed in the back, and that's pretty much exactly what Demi is having to deal with here, what the Green Commander's having to deal with, basically everybody is dealing with. Phantom now forced to pull all the T2 units to try and deal with this swarm of units moving in, leaving the Orange Commander with every opportunity to move forward right now. I appreciate the Salamanders moving forward with the Banishers here, trying to apply a little bit of counter pressure, and there is opportunity for crazy run-by potential. I mean, all of these mexes are unguarded. These are just regular metal extractors, no exploiters or anything like that. They're going to be more than sufficient to do tons of damage. This army needs to move. We need to win, cries out Humblegar, and I think I agree wholeheartedly. Getting these units up and running and into the battlefield, I think, is going to be critical. If we can get them, if we can get these units moving in and take out 1 or 2 or 3 of these bases, I think we could probably secure the win right here. We're definitely further along in the aggression for the blue team on the southern side, but things are closing in fast over here in the north. Bunch of lightning tanks getting ready to roll out. There's a composition for you. Lightning tanks, Sheldon, Arbiters, all sorts of cool stuff. Tell you what, why don't we go back into our special mode? Oh, never mind. Controller disconnected. Hold on 1 second. This is all powered by an Xbox controller, so, you know, not sponsored, but yeah, if you're looking for a sponsor, Xbox, hold on, let me see if I can re-enable this. It's got a, I know I'm missing stuff, hold on. It's finicky. It's very finicky. Okay, I think we're good. Oh, maybe not. All right, slash debug. Oh, wow. Not that. Slash dev mode. There we go. Okay, hold on. I think we're good. There we are. Beautiful. All right. Sorry about that. Doing some live troubleshooting there for you. I was just talking on Nebuchadnezzar's stream, or yeah, it was live stream, and it was also uploaded. Check the announcements page in my Discord if you want to see that, by the way. There was some good stuff we were just talking about Guard, and we showcased. They actually showcased this tech on that live stream as well. Forgot my point, but oh yeah, we were talking about how basically don't cut any of the mistakes out of these. And there you go. Maybe proof of it. Yellow players pushing in at this point. The red army following suit. The green commander swept out by a whole bunch of bulls and lightning tanks right now. More and more of these radar tower or radar vehicles are going to be necessary to keep everything firing smoothly. But the base of the green commander is in a whole lot of trouble. Loads of hounds up there on that hillside over here. Not going to be very effective against the ticks, unfortunately. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, Maroon base in a lot of trouble here. Tan base falling very rapidly as well. We can do something like this. Isn't that just a beautiful cinematographic shot? I think so. One of the things I love about this game, and I'm sure a lot of you appreciate as well, is just how beautiful all the unit models and everything are. Up close and personal, you get to really appreciate all the detail. I think there's a smoothing option too. Yeah, okay, I can increase the smoothing right here to make it really, really nice and fluid. Beamer turrets coming up for the orange commander. Maroon commander basically knocked out of the game. Air player is also down. Commander death over here as well. And we've got ourselves a race against the clock. Blue facility has fallen. The orange commander StarCraft man pushing in right now. We can see tons and tons of units streaming across the battlefield. There's not a lot to hold on here, but we do have some sharpshooters trying to whittle away at whatever we can. If the sharpshooters build up to enough mass, they can definitely be trouble. They can shut down even up to T3 pushes, but they have trouble dealing with T1. And there's tons and tons of ticks running forward right here for Hans Joachim. The swarm jumping on top of all the hounds right now for the Lavender commander. You wouldn't think it. You wouldn't think it, but the tick effectively countering basically all of the T2 artillery pieces. Lightning tanks here to accentuate that. Salt in the wound. Hound's doing a little bit of friendly fire damage as well. Yellow tanks streaming into the backline. Oh, we have a dragon out. Okay, interesting. Dragon for base defense. Not the worst idea, actually. One of the rare few ways where you can get extreme value out of a dragon is, of course, with defense. T1 fighters. So incapable of shooting those dragons down. That was a volley of, what, 50 fighters all firing at that dragon and they still didn't kill it? My goodness. There it is, in all of its glory. That flame-spewing, laser-shooting, anti-air toting behemoth of the skies, flying around in its 4 VTOL thrusters. Pulsar and Mauser Ball over here has undercut the purple production center as well. Oh, very nicely done. Yeah, Fiends sent all over the place. We are going for a little bit of a run by right here. Oh, just barely not going to get the production here. Scorpion turret, the hero of the day. LLT will fall. No big deal at this stage in the game. It's purple Fiends blasting away at the red. But I think the red team has deflected all of this attack quite nicely. Yeah, despite losing the tan commander, the maroon commander, everybody on the southern side over here. The pink commander is still holding strong, by the way. Love to see it. Despite losing all that and more, I think they still managed to keep more of their economy intact. Roughly neck and neck still in the economic sector up on the northern, on the top right-hand side of the screen. You can see the, yeah, you can definitely see the economies are more or less the same, fluctuating slightly based on reclamation. Still getting used to controls, so pardon me. Ticks continuing to be a nuisance, but you know what? This side was deflected quite nicely here as well for the blue team. Yeah, we've got ourselves a little bit of a situation here. I will say a lot less of the base has been destroyed. Yeah, Sanchez still remains intact back here. The air player, the powder blue air player. The cyan green commander, the lime green commander still has production up and running as well. Resbot's picking up a bunch of the metal extractors and everything else in these bases that they can find. I think the blue team did more damage overall in that push, taking out more production facilities. As long as we get the mexes up and running again, it won't be the end of the world, but certainly for the time being. much more production available here for the blue team. And indeed, yeah, we have a demon out on the battlefield. Oh, StarCraft man going for the D-gun. Beautiful D-gun right there. Takes out the demon that was necessary for holding this front line. That was part of the key of keeping this front line together right there, was that demon being the firepower, no pun intended, to keep any of those T1 or T2 chaff back from the fronts. They do a lot of AoE, they have a lot of firepower. Makes them really, really powerful. Commander goes down right there. StarCraft man's commander. Sharpshooters dealing with pawns. Not ideal, I would say, but we do what we must. Love the spy bots here as well. Reporting data back to their commanders. And it looks like a big push is getting ready up on the northern side here. Big wave of ticks is getting ready to march forward. We have the Bulls and the Lightning Tanks, the Jaguars, moving forward. I think we need to send Resbots with this. I think that's the one unit that we're missing in this composition right here, is a bunch of Resbots to pick up the corpses. There we go. There's another demon. Produced from the blue facilities. The forward facility for the blue commander was overrun, but eventually we got a rear T3 up and running. And we will start pumping out a bunch of those demons. I wonder if demons are what you want here, though. The Shiva seem like an excellent option for sieging a lot of this. Is that a fusion reactor? Hold on, I just saw something on the minimap. My goodness, it really is. Forward fusion reactor, all right. I'm not entirely sure why we're building this here, but I guess it is a pretty well-defended area. I mean, we've got the LLTs, we've got everything else over here. Bunch of grunts about to discover it, I think. If we select these really quick, we can go into player view. Haven't seen it quite yet. Well, there they go. We find it. And just like that, the whole army for the red commander suddenly makes its way over to the... Why did we build the fusion reactor here? This feels like a terrible, terrible place to build a fusion reactor here. I'm so confused. Erikim has gone for a fusion reactor, and probably the forward fusion reactor is definitely a new strategy to me. There we go. It gets overwhelmed by a bunch of fiends, and down goes that very expensive economy. I am at a loss for words. I suppose that's where the build power was, so it was just convenient, but certainly in an improper position. And just like that, the purple commander loses an unfortunate amount of metal. We're going for another forward fusion reactor. We don't have very many units to defend here. I feel like the APM drain on Erikim has been significant, making some questionable choices on the back of what was an otherwise very successful early game. Obviously, you don't get as much practice playing the late game as you do the early game. You can watch these fiends burn across the battlefield here. Starlight's caught in the fire. Fiend and Grunt is probably one of my favorite compositions in the game. Extremely effective and extremely inexpensive. Makes it a very easy composition to transition into as well, just because usually you have your T1 and T2 labs up simultaneously when you go for that T2 transition. If you don't have to eat up that T2 lab, or that T1 lab to pay for the T2, yeah, you definitely get some serious value out of including those grunts. They can shoot down chaff a little bit easier. The fiends have insane DPS, but oftentimes they won't kill things in one volley, and having the grunts around to clean up makes a whole lot of sense. I think these demons need to be way more aggressive. I think if these demons push forward right here, I think they would have way more of a shot of breaking this line than they really think. Being a little too cautious with them. Obviously wary of D-guns right now, but you set up a couple of spam labs, and you should be all good. Northern side trying desperately to hold the line. Starlight's having a field day. We have the solution, though. A solution in a dragon-shaped box. Gonna start blasting apart a whole bunch of these starlights right now. That's beautifully done. Nice, the chain reaction happens, and all those starlights fall right there. Beautiful, beautiful play right there. Just a single dragon, but I think it's gotten so much investment. Wonderfully done right there by the powder blue commander, keeping his teammates in mind and managing to shut down that very oppressive force of starlights that had definitely snowballed out of control at this point. Commander very far forward, too. You have to be wary of those lightning tanks. They do have a little AA backpack. Can whittle down your forces slowly but surely. But in this case, the dragon remains strong. Another big fiend wave marching forward. And you can feel that everybody is getting ready for that T3. They're not really interested in fighting in the T2 anymore. Everybody's taken too much damage. Everybody just wants to get up into that T3 game once again. Demons continuing to harass this southern side that's been ravaged and ravaged again. I love the ease with which I can transition between these cinema moments and regular gameplay. There we go. Just like that. The pink base is overwhelmed by the firepower here from these demons. Yeah, Commander gets a nice degun right there. MVP shutting down one of those demons over on the other side, but luckily the 3 did split, so 2 of them still remain intact. Finally, some tick spam moves forward. Resbot eating up the wreckage of that fusion reactor over there. That's always great. Demon marching forward right here. A little bit of a miss rally, I believe. Yeah, Demon falls for basically no value. Could have probably killed a lot of these Starlights on the front line, but I think it was just not paid attention to. And these Shiva are continuing to march forward. Question is, are they... Yeah, they're fight commanded forward. I wondered. They were stutter stepping forward, so I wondered if they were fight commanded. All that means is that they're not really going to move as long as there's a spam coming towards them. Sometimes the best way to shut down a Shiva ball is just to run a bunch of ticks underfoot. Pulsar up and running. Firing away. Everybody getting ready for some aggression, but nobody ready to really pull the trigger quite yet. Yeah. You can see making very, very baby steps, very slow and steady progress right here. The Shiva marching forward, the Starlight spam as well. I will say the Green Commander is pushing quite heavily over here on the southern side, though. Demons in the back for fire support. Pun well intended that time. Shiva versus Demon. Up and down controls, a little bit confusing. Yeah. I mean, you get what you pay for, and the Demon certainly costs quite a bit more than the Shiva, so in a one-on-one battle, no surprise that they're going to take the win there. Oh, nice Spybot connection right there, though. Beautiful Spybot connection. Manages to paralyze that Demon right there and stop it in its tracks. 13 seconds remaining will be more than enough for the Shiva to blast it down. Beautifully done. What a lovely defense right there. Yeah, using those Spybots to shut down a lot of this. Very, very nicely done. Meanwhile, a tick spam continuing forward. There is a twin guard here, and I think the twin guard will eventually, yeah, stop these ticks in their tracks. Still more and more roaming into the bases, though. Difficult to make that transition back down the tech ladder to effective static defense that can deal with ticks. Fighters hanging out over this ball don't really need to be here. Bunch of materials were all handed over to the orange commander there, or the red commander, pardon me. Bunch of grunts and whatnot. Starlight Shiva. There's a composition for you. Light ATR bot's gonna tickle the chassis right here of the dragon. Oh, you know what? The Banisher actually quite nice for dealing with the dragon. Hadn't even thought about that, but that definitely makes sense. Banisher is a single target heavy anti-air. It could work. I feel like Starlight should be able to shoot at the dragons. I feel like anything should pretty much be able to shoot at a dragon. They're pretty beefy. Dragon shutting down some of this front line here, but is forced to retreat backwards. Losing a dragon is a serious investment. Demon versus demon action. Mammoth's pretty good. One of the things that the Mammoth is certainly well established for, well used for, is its monumental, monstrous HP pool. Super tanky unit the Mammoth is. Makes it perfect for standing up against those high damage targets and buying you time that you need in order to actually blast them down. If we follow the grunt pattern. Across the map, over the hills. Down the valleys. Find ourselves to a T2 air lab right here for the Red Commander. It is producing a nuclear bomber. Whether or not that will ever see the light of day, I doubt it. 1%, 0%, and just like that, that nuclear bomber goes down. Just barely didn't finish, too. It was about 70% of the way done. A little bit of a bummer. This Twin Guard, though, is a hero. How many kills does this thing have singularly? 54 kills on a single Twin Guard. Not bad. Not bad whatsoever for that single static defense turret. Anyway. Wow. What a defensive setup we got here. E-converters pop, though. All the defense in the world doesn't matter if your base is highly explosive. In this case, it sure is. I would definitely avoid this. I think probably just sending the units around in a different direction is probably the best idea. We do have the Starlights, though, and the Starlights can obviously penetrate that shield, so that does mean that we have a way to break this defensive setup, but we need to make sure that we do it carefully. Overstep a little too far, and you can find yourself in a really tricky situation with bulwarks firing down your neck. The Shiva Siege. Shiva missiles also capable of penetrating those shields, making them a very good siege unit. Probably the most misunderstood unit in the game is the Shiva. Not an assault unit, but a siege unit. The Karganeth is technically speaking the Cortex assault unit. It's a different kind of assault unit, but definitely an assault unit nonetheless. And those Seeking missiles are very powerful as well. Ooh, nice catch right there. A whole bunch of those pods. The explosion, the after-death explosion right there from the Starlight, clearing out a whole bunch of the pawns from the Cyan Blue Commander, but at the very least, they did manage to take down most of the aggressors right there, cutting significantly the firepower available to continue pushing into this base. Razorback does fall to the Shiva. The overwhelming might of the Shiva, and I love to see the little Resbots marching around, picking up a bunch of these wrecks as well. The Orange Commander, at the very least, doing a thorough job of cleaning those up. Keeping the map nice and tidy. And it looks like the blue team has run out of steam. They call for a resign vote at this point. They've still got the T3 gantries producing units, but I just don't believe in these demons anymore. We've seen so many of them come and go, and they're so flimsy, I just don't think they're the move. Maybe going for some Karganeth here to make sure... Whoops, something went wrong right there. Anyway, maybe going for the... Oh, I think I can adjust the game speed too. Yeah, look at that. Slow motion. Just remembered that. I think Karganeth would have been a better option here just to try and deal with a lot of the smaller, spammier stuff. Those heat-seeking missiles can be really, really nice. We do have Vanguard coming out. Mass Vanguard is extremely potent. Can be really, really dangerous in the right situation at the right time. Tons of Resbots patching stuff up as well here. What's our game speed at? There we go, 1.0. Hard to tell sometimes. Typically, we don't have to drop below the, we don't have to drop below the game speed because of FPS reasons, but it does still happen sometimes. Please make Pam, or spam, depending on how you want to interpret it. Shiva pulling back for now. Interesting. I'm noticing the map changes as well. That's a little bit uncanny. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's weird. I wonder if there's a widget for that. Hold on. We're getting a really technical view of what exactly is going on right here. Map. Rotate. Flip? Camera flip. No, there's no map flip widget. Well, guess that's just something we're gonna have to deal with. The resign vote is called, but the red team has pulled back, maybe reinvigorating the blue team's morale a little bit here. Trying to give them a little bit of a morale boost. Which, by the way, thank you to everybody who commented and explained the difference between moral and morale. In my heart of hearts, I think I knew they were two different words, but they're so similar spelling anyways, that it was just hard to accept. StarCraft Man got an excellent degun on a Razorback right there. That's a resurrected commander, so finding value even after the grave. Something big is in the wings right now for the powder blue commander. Moving some heavy bombers across the map. This feels a little bit slow though, I can't lie. I think if these bombers had probably gone across the map maybe 5 minutes ago, maybe 10 minutes ago, extending the advantage that the blue team already had over this map over here, I think that might have worked quite a bit better. Yeah. Oh, look at that. Wow, we can pull up the whole mini-map like that. New camera controls every time. There we go, we can see the vision lines with that button. Here we go. Bombers finally moving in. The dragons following suit as well. Here come the fighters. Fighters all pulled. No air defenses here for the red team. Oh, and it could be massive. The bombers are going in. They're going after the aphises here. Deploying their payload. Fusion reactors pop. Boom go the fusions. We need the aphises down though. We need to switch targets. Anti-air defenses are strong enough though. They shoot down the bombers remaining, but there is a couple of dragons still moving in. Dragons definitely powerful enough to pop those advanced fusion reactors before they get shot down. Whoops, before they get shot down by the anti-air flak turrets. There they go, blasting them to smithereens. There's no hope, there's no help. Boom goes the base of the hot pink commander, and just like that, I think the powder blue commander has managed to bring this game much closer back towards the hands of the blue team. Eventually, lasers, anti-air turrets, everything else, and some more will bring down those dragons. But that was a nice hit right there to the red economy, shutting down a large part of the production here. You can see the energy economy is quite smaller on the red side of the map. Demons cleaning up Razorbacks quite nicely. Again, you get what you pay for, and the Demons quite a bit more expensive than the Razorbacks, so in a 1-to-1 battle, certainly the Demons should win. There's a lone Razorback moving forward over here. Oh, man. If this thing wasn't so poorly damaged, yeah, a single shot from the Scorpion turret kills it. If that thing wasn't so scuffed up, I think that probably could have actually gotten some serious damage. Would have found the base, would have definitely found a whole bunch of this. Unfortunately, though, not enough HP in the tank. Demons galore right now. Just surprised we're not being more aggressive with them. Yeah. Vanguard's trying to fire on whatever they can as well. They find a Juggernaut over here. That's a little concerning. 63% HP. Let's see what each one of these Vanguard does to it. Yeah, about 1%, 2% maybe. Yep, basically 1%. Vanguard quite good, but obviously Juggernaut's quite better. There's one thing that Juggernaut's good at. It's being very, very tanky. Extremely difficult to kill. Vanguard forced into retreat right here. Being blasted down by the womp womp beam from the Juggernaut. Now firing away. Loads of Juno missiles here in the middle of the map. Commander goes down once again. That was StarCraft Man's resurrected commander. Let me clear the map drawings real quickly. Oh no, that wasn't StarCraft Man. Oh yeah, it was. It was. The red commander taking control of that. Or maybe it wasn't. No, yeah, it was just the red commander. A little bit far forward here. There's only 2 commanders per team left remaining. This game is definitely coming down to the wire. Razorback's here to try and clean some of this up. The commander also gets a nice D-gun connection. Oh, that pulsar connection was about as good as it gets. Bringing down tons of that Razorback's HP bar. Beautifully, beautifully done. That's the kind of value that you're hoping for out of those pulsars. But the Juggernauts are marching forward. This is a full health Juggernaut. If this gets anywhere near a base, it's going to be lights out for whosoever should be so unfortunate. Launching its missiles and stomping its way across. That stomp, by the way, does damage, in case you're curious. If you get units underfoot of the Juggernaut, it can crush them with its Krog Stomp, I believe is what it's called. Oh, nice D-guns from StarCraft, man. Shutting down all these Shiva that were sent forward right here. Beautifully, beautifully done. More and more Starlights falling right here. I feel like we should produce 3 lightning tanks to every Starlight, just so that we make sure we have an anti-spam defense ahead of our base. Demi in position. We need to see him move. Oh, Dragon comes out, okay. Dragon getting to work on the Juggernaut. Not gonna put it down quickly, but they will put it down. Whoa, massive demon push right here though. Maybe not. Trying to sweep across this defensive front. One of the two remaining commanders for the red team does go down. Juggernaut goes down as well. Nice D-gun over there. Juggernaut's left, right, and center, trying to push forward for the win. Where's the final commander for the red team? It must be... There it is. It's Donut's commander in maroon. All the way over here on the left-hand side. Demi, one of the last remaining commanders here for the blue team. Big aggressive wave on the northern side. Tons and tons of fiends moving forward. Pawns rushing to intercept, but there are Razorbacks there as well. Resurrecting commanders left, right, and center. The Vanguard firing away wherever they can. Commander might be resurrected. Boom! And down it goes again. Obviously very fragile when they're resurrected. Oh, big bombing run coming in. Saw it out of the corner of my eye on the mini-map here. Oh, bomber's getting awfully close. Oh, and they don't manage to drop their payload. Will their crash be able to do anything? Barely not. Oh, maybe. Maybe. Nope. No martyr deaths right there for the bombers this time around. We're gonna need quite a lot more. Production is looking good in the backline right here for the air player. 2 labs up and running, fusion reactors, advanced fusion reactors here for green. Phantom going to be trying to put up as many static defenses as possible here. We do have the pulsars up and running. Those are always nice. Help or death, cries out Pasta Polo. Very nice. Look at the, oh, there we go. Look at the minimap here and we can see the units moving forward. Full screen minimap is something else. Very interesting indeed. Zip on over to this side of the map, the southwestern corner at this point, the blue controlled southwestern corner. Lightning tank getting ready to move forward here. We also have some bombers dropping payloads on the forward production facility here for the red commander. Actually a really nice bombing run shutting off that T3 facility. We're going after the E-converters, but I really feel like bombing that T3 lab out of existence would probably be very useful. Shutting off that T3 production would be very, very nice for making sure that no more harassment comes through in that lane. Pulsar's still blasting away over there. Still do something like this. We can't. Still testing new controls. You know what? This defensive setup holds. The Pulsars, very, very powerful. The Vanguard in the back, though, in their hierarch mode are very nice for sieging this base. Yeah, you know what? With those Pulsars firing away, despite the Razorbacks falling, most of the static defense over here has gone down. Another dragon out on the field. I like this strategic use of the dragons. We're deploying them in very specific zones, trying to make sure that they get the most value possible. Thor right here, moving forward. Do we have EMP missiles? We have a single EMP missile. Drop it on the bulwarks, not the pulsars. No use on that EMP missile here. A little bit disappointing. Self-D will be used at the very least. I appreciate that we're denying the wreckage. That's always nice. More, whoops, pardon me. Wrong control again. Oh, there we go. So we are aware of the EMP missile. We do know about it. Always good to see. The line of spy bots over here is also quite nice. You can always use that as an emergency stop button on an enemy army, of course, but also very good for vision, just raw scouting. Vanguard, though, cleaned up quite nicely. Yeah, in their hierarch mode, they're essentially helpless. Oh, wow, and just like that, despite the red team having an overwhelming advantage on the map for the longest time, with just a little bit of aggression and the right bombing runs, demons in all the right places and just the right amount of porks to defend all the aggression, the blue team ends up taking this game beyond all reason. My goodness, what a close one that ended up being. 49 minutes of action-packed adventure. Man, I love the epic late game in this map. And of course, I want to hear your feedback on exactly how you feel about this camera control system. I think it looks beautiful. but I'm always happy to hear from you guys down below. Oh, all right, and we've been thrown back to the menu. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the very next one. Peace out, everybody.